Hello and welcome to the latest sports poster design tutorial. Okay, today I'm going to be making this design here of Robert Lewandowski and Vidal there. We've got the Allianz Arena in the background and some lighting effects. Okay, we only use two images on this one. We use the Allianz Arena, I'll show them you now, which is just here. Just use this one. And we've used a picture of Robert Lewandowski celebrating a goal. So come off there and we'll get started. Okay, so just to speed things up, I've already cut out this image of the players. Just one thing, just when you're cutting out the hair, just take the time to do it properly, and especially like the fuzzy bits around Vidal's beard as well. Okay, they're just things to consider, just to make it look a lot better. But what we'll do is Command 0, and we'll scale it, and okay, the measurements that I'm using there, if I just press Command N, bring up a new document, I'll show you what I'm using. Okay, so I'm using a width of 1280 pixels and a height of 2272, and like I say in all my tutorials so far, okay, this is just a lock screen resolution for the iPhone. So I'll close that there, and I will hide the players. I'll just put that layer on top. And to start with, I'm just going to rename it. So Stadium, and I'm going to press Command T, and I'm going to scale this quite up. Command 0. Oh, sorry. So like I just made a mistake there. If you hold down Shift when you get the arrows down there in the diagonal, okay, it keeps it all constrained. Or you can hold Shift and Alt. I'm using a Mac, and it grows in proportion. So I'm just going to position this so this main light is around about there. I'm just going to screw a little bit more. Yeah, that looks good. That's good. Okay, so I'm just going to throw in a few adjustment layers. Okay, so what shall I do first? Change the color balance around a little bit, and with the cyan, I'm just going to drop it down just a fraction, and with the blue, I'm just going to increase it a little bit. I'm trying to create a dramatic feel to this image, and it's not necessary for this layer here, but what you can do is if you hold Alt and hover between the layers and click it, it creates a clipping mask, so it only affects the layer underneath. Or you can simply right click or double click if you're using a Mac. Okay, and it would say create clipping mask, but there it says release clipping mask because I've already done it. Okay, so I'm just going to drop some saturation down as well. So hue saturation, not a great deal. I can just put it on around about 15 for now, and again I can come back to that. And I always like to play around with curves. I've got a nice little effect at the end for the curves layer, and you can click this little box here as well, and that creates a clipping mask. Just going to drop it down a fraction. And this layer lies the preview. See how it changes. Okay, so we're okay for now. And something that I like to do as well, so with the Stadium layer, I'm just going to double click. I'm using a Mac, or right click if you're on Windows. Okay, I'm going to convert to a smart object. So what that means is we can edit it non-destructively. So that's now a smart object. I'm going to go to the top, I'm going to go to Filter, I'm going to go to Blur, Gaussian Blur, and 5%, maybe 4. We'll go back with 5. I can never again, because it's a smart object, we can come back and we can adjust that. So later on, if I want to change my mind, I just double click there and I can change it. If it wasn't a smart object, I wouldn't be able to do that. Okay, so yeah, that's the background quickly done. And now we can bring in the players. Okay, so I've already cut them out just for the sake of a tutorial. Otherwise, just be watching me use the pen tool. So I'm going to call this players. A good habit I like to do is just naming the layers. Okay, press Command T, bring up the box, and I'm going to size them up. And that's roughly where I did it before. Let me see. A little bit bigger. It's looking okay. Yeah. Yeah, so now we've got Robin Lewandowski and Vidal all set up. We can throw in a few little adjustment layers for them as well. So hit the little icon down here, and first of all I'm going to do some curves. Create a clipping mask. This only affects this layer. Okay, and I'm just going to bring some shadows out and just darken it up a little bit. It's too much. Yeah, that's good. And do some colour balance as well, just a fraction. Cyan again. The blue. Again, you can just play around with all this sort of stuff. You can change it to your heart's content. Oh, so there you go, I've got to create a clipping mask. And let's look at the levels as well. Create a clipping mask. Just to make the shadows just a little bit darker, it saves a lot more work. Go with about 8. Let's look at I'll leave them. Yeah, so now we're ready to add some atmosphere. Okay, so go back onto, click this curves layer below the players. Okay, create a new layer. Okay, so now this layer is in between the stadium and the players, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some smoke. Okay, so I've got a smoke brush that I will put in the description below this video, so you can get that. It's from Flern, from one of their tutorials. Really good brush. Really recommend it. And what I'm going to do is up here, I'm going to set the opacity to 100, and the flow to start with, I'm going to try around 15%, see what that looks like. Okay, so it's not looking too bad. Make it a little bit smaller. I'm just going to paint on a little bit of smoke just to start with. In fact, I'll call that white background smoke. Now, apologies before I've done that, I've rushed a little bit. Create another layer underneath there. Okay, and what this is going to be, get a soft brush, so hardness 0. Okay, and with these lights, we're gonna cast like a light beam. Now, there's different ways of doing it, but it's a little bit of a shortcut. And as you can see there, I'm making it a little bit bigger, just pulling it away. Okay, it's just a quick way, just to create a light beam. And again, I'm going to do it over here, a little bit bigger. What I'm going to do it from here. So I'm using the bracket keys there on my keyboard to make the brush bigger and smaller as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a tutorial on how to create lighting. So if you look there, so I've created those light beams there, and you can get do it to your heart's content. So tap along, just make them bigger. I didn't do this on the last one, but it looks a lot better. And just along there. In fact, there we go. So I'm just going to call that light beams. Okay, so go back. We've got the background smoke, and we've painted. It's a little bit too much now, so I'm just going to drop it down to around 10. I'm just going to paint some more on, just creating some atmosphere. See, if I take it away there, you can see how much it's changed, and as it's getting higher, yep. So it's looking good so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert that to a smart object. I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur again, and I'm just going to take the edge off the smoke, and we can increase it a little bit. So look. Just go with 5, just to take the edge off, like I said. Okay, and just behind that smoke, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the soft brush. I'm just going to just paint some more light on. So put some light beams in, put a little bit more white in, and we've got the smoke. So it's looking good. So what we can do now is we can start creating the effect around the players. So go up to the top levels. Okay, create a new layer, and again hold down Alt and create a clipping mask, because we want this layer now to only affect the players. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint round the edge, and you'll just to start building it up. So you see across his hair there. Okay, this tutorial is very similar to the Paulo Dybala one that I've done. I'll put that in the description below as well. Go check that out. Okay, but this is just something if you just wanted to keep practicing, keep getting better. Okay, but you fancied something different, or you don't like Italian football, you like the Bundesliga. So press Command 0. See, I've just started that there. So you can take your time, make it look good. And what we're going to do is we're just going to slowly build it up each time. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I'm just going to paint a little bit more on around his hair, his arms. So imagine this is where the majority of the light's coming from. And then paint it on here as well. So again, you can see how good it's getting. And again, if you don't want to use white, you can use different colours. If your team's red and you think about red pyro in the stadiums and that, you want to make the smoke red, just have a play around with it. So yeah, we're getting there. So I'm just going to make it a bit bigger. So Yeah. Paint it on here. A little bit down here on Vidal. And what I'll do, excuse me, what I'll do is I'll keep coming back to that. So I'll call that light. And I'm going to add some shadows. So new layer, hold down, create that clipping mask. Okay, so over here you can hit this little arrow here and it swaps it over to black, or you can press X on your keyboard as a little shortcut. Okay, and then you can again opacity 100, flow at 5%, and just paint on some shadows. So if we take away the light and the shadows, you can see it's looking good already. I don't know if that's a little bit too strong, but we're good for now. So paint under his armpit, down here where the light's not going to be getting to it, just to create that atmosphere. Okay, so what I did on the last one, okay, got really intricate in amongst all the shadows, all the dark patches, all the creases on his jersey. Let's take that bit off there, underneath his chin, his mouth, Vidal's arm. Not too much there. So if it gets a bit too much, you can just drop the flow down. Bring it down to 3. All this sort of stuff. Okay, you can really keep saying it on my other tutorial. Just take your time with it. Make it right. Make it how you want it to look. Yeah, so you get the idea of what we're trying to achieve. I'm only just blasting through this for the tutorial, but again, just shading these. Now you can dodge and burn them. Again, that's something else for another tutorial, but just for this, I'm just showing you a quick way of doing it. Yeah, right, so Command 0. So if we take away the shadows, you can see that change there. And then, because shadows are quite strong, I'm going to put a layer on top, clipping mask it, and I'm going to go press X, I'm going to go back to white. So things like here underneath the armpit, I'm just going to tap. So the shadow's still there, it's still strong, but there's still a little bit of light emitting. So in the corners, bits where you'd like to shine through dead dramatically. In fact, go back to the shadow, forgot to rename that. Hit X, I forgot to do his hair, his forehead, his eyes. Yeah. Press Command Z if you're not happy with something, or Command Z. Command Z. Command Z. Yeah. So hit X back to the white. Okay, and I'm just going to paint it on. This dramatic lighting effect. Maybe a little bit too much there. So again, I'm just going to drop the flow down. No, we'll put it down to 1% now. Yeah, so it's looking quite good. I'm just going to go back to the shadows. I'm just going to put it on 1% up here. Okay, I'm just going to paint it on down there. Yeah, so I'm really happy with this. Okay, so what I can do is I can make it even a little bit more dramatic, bump the white up, or I'll show you for an example. Could go crazy. Let's go crazy. 25. Yeah, it's looking better. Yeah, so there we go. So you get the idea of what we're trying to achieve. Let's compare it to this one. Okay, so if you notice on this one as well, to add to the atmosphere as well, I've gone around and put some smoke on the front. So new layer at the top. Okay, and I'm going to call this smoke front. And we're going to go hit the B for the B brush. And we're going to go back to the smoke brush. Okay, I've got it set down here. And this all comes set up with all the jitters and everything. You don't need to do anything. So when you do download it, it's good to go. And watch the Flern tutorial on how to use it. It's really good. So flow 10%, and I'm just gonna. I think that's a little bit too much. Let's go down to 5. Come on, 0. No. There we go. There we go. Just paint it on. Just add that atmosphere as well. And just paint a little bit up there. I think I've got a little bit of OTT there. Go back. There we go. It's looking better. And I'm just going to drop it down a little bit. Okay, and again I'm going to convert it to a smart object just out of habit. I'm going to go to filter, and it's already at the top there because we did it before, but if you go back to blur, Gaussian blur, 5%, and it's not showing it, but it just takes the blur. I'm going to give it a 7%. It just takes the edge off the smoke. Okay, and then we're going to go to curves, and we're not creating a clipping mask here. What we're going to do is we're going to hit the center, we're going to drop it a little bit, and then we're going to go down here onto the bottom left. We're going to create like this glossy effect. Again, this is entirely up to you, completely optional. But yeah, you just play around with the curves and give it that gloss effect, depending how strong you want it to look. See the difference there? So I like the look of that. And if you take a snapshot of it, so for the Mac I'm using Command Shift Alt E. Okay, so you're doing a stamp visible. I'm not sure if I have to do a stamp visible, but I've done one anyway. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to Filter, Render, and Lens Flare. And we're going to choose 10. What should we choose? We've got lens type, not 105. Use 35. We'll go with 60%, just as like a we'll go with 65. And then we've got a lens flare. So there we go. So yeah, that's the sports design poster. Really quick, really simple to make. Using light, I think the Allianz Arena image really lended itself to the design. So it's one thing I was looking for when I was looking for the images to use as well. Okay, and then you look at the players and the shadows and stuff. So yeah, it looked really well. Got the smoke, got the atmosphere, got the light beams in there, the lens flared. So yeah, really simple to follow along. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next tutorial. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. It's been a pleasure.